yeah, 180. Boom! Game on. Another one, and another one, and another one. Hi lads and lasses, and welcome to Darts Coaching with Dynamite Dave. Today's video is a personal coaching session for Grant Dixon, all the way from New Zealand. Right, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Grant's stance, and that will be over in section 1, so let's go there right now. Right, here we are over in section 1, and we're going to have a look at Grant's stance. Now, Grant has got a very typical Australasia stance. By that, what I mean is toe to the hockey, back foot out at an angle, and up on his toes at the back. If you actually watch the video, what I'll do is, as I usually do, I'll put it down in the corner here, and you'll see. It's difficult to see unless you look very, very carefully, but Grant looks to me to be very unstable. This stance, the Australasia type stance, and it also runs through into the USA, Canada, Australia. You seem to find this in a lot of places around the world, especially where they play soft tip. Whether this is something to do with the game, or whether it's just the fact that it's the way other people stand, so it's the way that you learn to stand when you first start playing darts over in the other Western hemisphere of the world, shall we say. I don't know, but it's inherently a very unstable stance, and it doesn't promote the accuracy and consistency that Grant really is looking for. He's saying that he's pulling his darts over. It's quite evident when you actually look at the back quarter stance that his darts are, let's just say, not going in the same direction on each throw, and the reason for that is number one, it's the stance. Number two, some of the things that we're going to address as we go along in the video. So if we have a look at Grant's stance now, I'm going to put it down over here. You can see the typical Australasian American type stance, which is toe to the hockey, leg facing forward towards the board, body very open. As you can see, the body is very open, it's very facing towards the board, and that is, as we start it up and watch the throw in slow motion, we can see as Grant's hand comes down to pick the dart out of his hand, his chest is very open, and when he comes to throw, you can see that the way his body is moving, you can see all his body is moving all the way down to his ankles. And I can see his ankles move as he's throwing the dart. I can see his body moving all the way down his legs and into his ankles, which tells me straight away, because of the years of experience I've got of watching people throwing darts, that his throw is unstable. Right, so what we're going to do now, we've determined that, is we're going to go into section 2, and we're going to have a look at the effect that has on his upper body. So here we go over into section 2. Right, here we are in section 2, and what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at Grant from the front, from the upper body, and have a look what the effect of that let's say less than stable stance has on the upper body and the way that he actually throws the darts. Right, so we've got Grant now, again, down in the corner, facing the board. We've got the first throw at normal speed. Right, now what we notice from the first throw at normal speed is, as he's fetching the dart back, he's not only pushing the dart out to one side, he's actually throwing his elbow out. He's throwing his elbow out as he's throwing, and that is causing like a flick action to the way that he's throwing the darts. Any form of flick action, any form of flexing the wrist above what I call the preload, which is when you go back, you don't use your wrist, you're just coming back, and as your wrist goes over, your hand will naturally come back with it and project it forward. Anything above and beyond that will affect the way that your darts go into the board and your accuracy and your consistency. As we can see, as Grant sets himself up again, to take his second throw. You can see the elbow going out, and you can see the effect that where he actually throws. You can see his shirt coming up, and his whole body is coming up. You can see where the elbow's coming out, and that is producing that strange throw. And the reason he's getting that strange throw is all down to that elbow. Now what I'm going to do is to cross the stance and this one, a short little video of where and how to change that into a good solid stance. It's the first time I've tried this, so obviously it's a bit of an experiment, I suppose. So what I'm going to start doing, if this is successful, is where I believe people can improve, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show them how to improve and what they're looking for to improve, just to make the videos a bit more informative and a bit more easy to understand. It is put your toe to start off with, so as it's not too extreme. When I stand like this, so I'm facing at 90 degrees away from the board. And the reason for that is when I come to throw, you get your arm across and it comes to that stop where your arm stops, and then you can't do any of this like throwing your arm off to one side, because your body won't allow you to do it. So it feels very awkward for somebody who's done a toe to the hockey throwing. This feels very awkward at first, but believe me, it will come, and it'll make a massive difference to your game. Right, so this is the correct stance. Front foot flat on the floor, rock solid onto the floor. Lock your knee out when you go to throw, and just put the slightest amount of weight onto the front of your leg. Other than that, stand up straight. Stand up straight if you want. Once you've got your arm and your elbow level, which doesn't look too bad to me, to be honest with you, when looking at the videos, that's not too bad. So if you want to do the tilt from the body to try and get yourself so it's more comfortable for you to hit the 60, but what I want you to do is, once you've got that nice thing, is then try and stand up and adjust your arm speed to fetch your darts back down to where you want them to go. Right, so back foot is either planted on the floor, which will keep you standing up straight. You can, with your foot planted on the floor, heel as well, you can still put the weight on your front foot. There's nothing stopping you lifting your foot half an inch off the floor, but don't stick it up like you've got stilettos on. Tiny little bit off the floor if you want to put a little bit more weight onto the front foot, but look at the difference in the stance now, how solid that is compared to, so we're going from this stance to this stance to start off with, which means, if you can imagine my hand as being your foot, the hockey's here, don't put your foot like that, put your foot like that onto it, which will give you that little bit of leeway for you to come into it. Once you feel comfortable doing that, go to full flat on if you can, because that will mean that then you will gain another level of accuracy, because your arm you can't do that wiggling about with your arm, because it'll be up against what I call the backstop. As we hear in Brexit all the time now, the backstop, which is, well, as your arm comes out, if you stand still like this and bring your arm across, it gets to a point where you think, oh, and it stops before it becomes uncomfortable to move it any further. That backstop is where you want to be, and that will give you your laser accuracy. Your accuracy will massively improve. Let me just say that to you, it will absolutely massively improve. Whatever you do, if you're going to have a go at doing this is just a general one for all the lads and lasses out there that will be watching. If you're going to have a go at this, don't have a go at it for 5 minutes and then think, oh, I don't like this, it's not comfortable. I'm absolutely guaranteeing you it won't be comfortable in the first place, and if it is, you're very lucky. This is a way of getting to a point where you're throwing in a mechanical manner, and in a manner where you're going to be a lot more solid, a lot more accurate, a lot more consistent, but it takes some effort. You can't to expect to walk up to the hockey, try the Dynamite Dave stance, and if you've been throwing in a totally different manner, you can't expect that to work for you on the first day, because I absolutely guarantee you it won't. But if you persevere with it and you spend a couple of weeks getting used to it, because it's going to be awkward, it might even be slightly uncomfortable to start off with. I'm not going to say painful, because it's not painful. You do start doing a job a different way and you get aches and pains the first couple of days. But if you're going to practice and you're going to say spend an hour a day, get into the Dynamite Dave stance, get into a good way of thinking about it and what have you, and a good positive mental attitude, and start throwing in the Dynamite Dave way, and I absolutely guarantee you I've had hundreds now of letters saying, people of the 1,000 and however many subscribers I've got, I do get letters off them, I get emails off them, I get Twitter feeds off them, and I've had hundreds now of people saying to me, I've adopted the Dynamite Dave stance and it's working for me, and it's working well. I've improved massively. I've put a few in the comments thing below before on all the videos, so it's absolutely proven, and it does work, and it does work well. Right, so now then what we're going to do is go off into section number 3, which is from the side. Right, here we are in the side section. It's quite a close-up, and we've got Grant setting himself up, and even from the side here you can see it looks, now this is why I say to you I need different angles. If you look at Grant's throw from the side, from this position, it actually looks quite good, because you can't see that lateral movement unless you look very, very closely. See, really good parts of Grant's throw, and there is some, like there is in everybody's. It's not a thing, this isn't like a total strip down and rebuild, it's just a fettle to get those little bits of the stance and stuff right. He's got a really good level elbow and a really good tick-tock action actually. It's just going wrong in a couple of little places, and it just wants that fettling to fetch it back into where it'll be right and good. There we go, he's setting himself up. But the one thing that I will say from this angle here, if you watch it you can actually see, if you look very closely at the way his body's moving, you can see how unstable his stance is. Right, so what we're going to do is just a little bit of a finisher. We're going to have a quick look at Grant from the rear quarter, which I say is another good way of filming yourself, because you get not a total package, but again it's like from the front, you're actually getting a good view. So if you look, you can see Grant setting himself up here, and the throw, as his arm comes up, you can see the elbow goes out. As it comes up, elbow goes out, and he throws. And another thing with this back view and all is you can see where I said in the first place, right in section 1, where you can see that the unstableness of his stance goes right the way down to his legs and his feet. You can actually see there from the back as well, the way that his whole body is jerking when he throws, and that is nearly 99% of this is going to be down to the unstable stance. Right, so in conclusion, what you need to work on, Grant, is number 1, your stance. That's where your biggest problem is with your stance, because that's affecting or allowing you to throw, to cock that elbow out. That elbow cocking out, so you think that you thought when you contacted me it was something wrong with the way that your wrist was working and it was flicking out. The reason your wrist is flicking out is to try and compensate for the elbow that's sticking out. You really do need to get that elbow absolutely vertical as it comes over the top. What you need to do is get the stance closed up instead of being open like this, which allows your arm to wiggle all over the place. And if you work on your stance and that over the top, I think you'll find that you'll have a massive improvement in a reasonably short period of time. So Grant, this has been your personal coaching video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you work on it, I absolutely guarantee you it'll improve your darts no end. So have a go at it, stick with it, persevere with it, and don't forget, as I always ask people, get back to me and let me know how you're getting on. Right, so thanks for watching Darts Coaching with Dynamite Dave. Thanks to Grant Dixon for the fantastic footage. And don't forget, lads and lasses, toe to the hockey.